Hello and welcome to the third installment of the Extreme Hardware podcast. It is going to be kind of a light episode today, but joining me today is Simmons,
Hello.
our illustrious guest, wonderful guest, the only guest. So,
I'm a guest today.
Yes, you're always a guest in my heart, Simmons. Okay, that's actually all who is going to be joining me today. So, getting right into it, Steam. Actually, have you seen the new Steam Beta UI update?
I only briefly got a chance to look at it.
It's actually pretty cool. Honestly, it reminds me of Discord's Nitro screen, if you've seen it.
Yes.
Which is now going away, October 10th, I think. They're getting rid of all games on Discord Nitro.
Oh, really? I didn't think that was going to last very long, honestly.
Yeah, no one really plays games on Nitro. Everyone just buys Nitro to kind of, cross-post emotes or whatever, let's be honest.
Or, the in-server streaming functionality that you unlock.
Oh, yeah. I guess so. I mean, you can use that without Nitro for now. I think they're changing how it works, yeah.
I imagine that once
streaming.
Sorry?
Yeah, I can use the streaming. I don't have Nitro.
Everything that I was seeing so far is like they blasted it out to everybody, and the only thing that Nitro gets you is higher quality anything. But yeah, first of all, it's like I never understood the whole Discord Nitro thing with games. Like I knew it was an interesting incentive, but it goes back to the old argument that we have too many launchers, so yet it's another launcher, and that's not why I bought or am using Discord.
Oh, speaking of launches, did you see 505 Games, the publisher, got a $9.5 million incentive from Epic Games?
I don't think we have another one.
Yeah, but no one knows what the game it's for. Oh, no, sorry, I lie. It's for Control. Here, let me just send it to you.
That's going to be every game then.
Oh, you know what? My girlfriend actually was telling me about this one. I'm interested in the game, but not interested enough to support Epic.
Yeah, there's a few games on Epic like Metro, Exodus, and Anno 1802 is on Ubi Store, whatever it's called. Uplay.
There's too many launchers.
Yeah, a lot of the games, if it's not on Steam or BNet, I just don't play it because I'm just like, well, there goes another game that I just don't like. I don't like the game enough to warrant all the hassle of going through Uplay or Epic Store, really.
Right. And then for me, it's not even so much of having too many launchers. It's more so I use my computer 24/7. I never turn it off. And the more launchers you have running, the quicker everything eats up the page file, and then you have to reboot. So it's like I actually have a justification for not being pissy about a game not being on Steam.
Wait, no, I also do that. I leave my computer on forever.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was an issue.
I've noticed it more directly. Just
how big is your page file?
I think it's system managed, but it's one of those things. It's like I typically have like 15 applications running all the time. It Chrome, Firefox, Pale Moon, Steam, Discord, and the list goes on. So it's not an issue for the first 5 months of the install, but after 5 months, and then you're installing stuff and uninstalling stuff, and then the registry starts getting jacked, then you start to feel it more. Actually, I'm due for a system reimage for that exact reason.
Yeah, I didn't re-image my old machine. Before I upgraded I was on Sandy Bridge until February of this year. And I was running a Windows 10 beta build, just updated the entire time. I was like, I have no idea how this is still working, but
hey.
I'm too lazy to reinstall Windows. So, it works.
Yeah, but going back to the Steam UI, I actually really do kind of like it. It looks like the same direction that Origin was going before. Origin was just... I uninstalled Origin after the breach from, I think, last year was announced. But then I was like, well, also the games that I do have on here, I never play anyway, so I'm not really losing anything. But I will say, I mean, it just feels like a slightly more modern Steam library, honestly.
Yeah. It is quite nice having the big thumbnails to kind of browse through your games. And
yeah.
I don't know. I found myself kind of browsing through those thumbnails and going like, oh, I forgot about that because it's in my face now and big.
Admittedly, I think I only have like 40 games in my library, so I'm definitely I'm definitely not in the majority here when it comes to getting lost in your library. But
yeah, I would like for them to have. I know you can create your own sort of folders and stuff now, but I don't know. I would like more sort of organizational ways of your games because it is just a big list. Like I'm getting into using favorites and stuff, but I'm not sure how to really categorize it. Like it'd be nice if it could auto do categories for like RPG, open world or whatever. And you can click on like that the same way you do in the store to kind of like what games do I have that are RPGs and what games do I have that are FPSs or whatever.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, I do want to. Now, I don't know if it exists, but is there like a categorization system that you can add to your games list, or is it just favorites? Because that's all I've ever been able to find.
I think with this update, you can add extra categories apart from favorites. I remember messing around with it when it came out, but I am not certain, really.
Yeah, because, it's like one of those things. It's like, YouTube goes through their motions of every 3 years, they like to re-add subscription groups, and then they remove them because I guess they realize that everybody actually will use the subscription group and we're blowing up databases.
Oh, no, you can add them to collections. Yeah, and you can create collections.
Good to know.
Oh, and you can create dynamic collections with different filters. Right.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think the regular collections has been a thing for a while on Steam.
Oh, it's just a case of not me noticing it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's like I think that's the whole mentality with YouTube subscriptions is like not a whole lot of people know that the categories exist, so it doesn't fill up that much database.
Yeah. You were speaking about the privacy issues with Origin. Another great company known for privacy issues is Facebook.
Oh boy.
But I don't know if you've seen this. Facebook is now launching their own Supreme Court. Their actual wording, Supreme Court.
Oh, that's good.
Handling takedown appeals. So yeah, Facebook has, they're going to assign, I think, 11 people at the moment, but it's going to go up to 40 people in this court. All the people on the court will be known, like they'll have, their names and faces will be known, as well as like their decisions will be completely transparent. Mark Zuckerberg is going to be heading this up, if you will.
No surprise.
He had to say, if someone disagrees with a decision we've made, they can appeal to us first, and soon they will be able to further appeal to this independent board. I'm not really sure how it's independent because it's Facebook assigning them for Facebook, but okay.
Yeah, it's the government of we're right and you're wrong.
Yeah. I love that they use the word Supreme Court, though.
Yeah.
Like they're just so out of touch.
No.
Crazy.
I feel like I feel like there was an episode of Futurama about this where there was a mega corporation that basically just ran the planet, and they are the government, or maybe it was a different show, but Futurama comes to mind.
So wait, running the planet, right?
Yes.
What would you say, or how would you feel if Google, Amazon, Facebook, there's another Chinese company, like the Chinese company that owns Alibaba and stuff, those big companies.
Yeah, the mega companies.
What would you, if they bought a country, would you live there?
Absolutely not.
Why?
It's like, okay, so first of all, with my work, I'm kind of bound to the United States. So
no. Okay. Let's assume, I know that's okay, very specific, but let's assume you could transfer like your job and let's say even your family and everything. It's just like you're trading just the only variable, you're trading country for country. Like, would you live in the US or, Googletopia?
Okay.
You
know what? Let's just go run with Googletopia because that's funny. Where I personally live in the district of Amazon land. No. Honestly, probably not because obviously the biggest source of income for a lot of these companies is the data mining. And with that, there's probably going to be like ISP, like American ISP type restrictions on like content that you can access and stuff along those lines. Just knowing that, A, we can't see your data that, you know, when you swore into this company or this country or immigrated, you agreed that we could have access to everything. You know, it might be a little bit fear-mongery, but that's the first thing that comes to mind is how, like, any little sliver of privacy we have left is going to get thrown out the window in that kind of environment.
Could you imagine Google going to war, literal war with Amazon?
That would be hilarious, honestly.
That's very dystopian future-like.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, so I think there's like no doubt that you'd be kind of sacrificing your privacy for one of those countries.
Yep.
But how much different would it really be than the state of everything now? It'd almost just be transparent that they're stealing your data rather than, you know, sneakily doing it.
I mean, Facebook has been pretty transparent of we mine all of your data and we made a very vague TOS on purpose because nobody was reading it and da 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 da. You know, actually going back to that entire thing, I remember back when the Zuck was under trial by the Supreme Court.
The real Supreme Court this time.
Yes, the American Supreme Court. Or no, it was the congressional trial. My apologies.
Okay.
One of the things that was pointed out was how extensive, or it was either how extensive the TOS is or how vague the TOS is. And I think it was the latter. And it was one of those things and Zuck actually had a point. It's like, I hate agreeing with this man, but it's like, we had to make it vague because if it's more than 3 pages, nobody is going to read it.
I think if it's more than one sentence, no one's going to read it.
I don't think anyone would read it at all.
See, that's the thing, though, is like if it looks like it's more than like 20 pages long, I will not read it. If it's like less than 10, I probably will.
Wow. No, it's honestly, I think about like 2 paragraphs I'll read. Anything beyond that, I won't read. Like, there's I was just signing up for the free beta of Modern Warfare today, and there was 10 pages of the like single player, 18 pages of the multiplayer, 20 pages for the service itself. And then it crashed, of course. And when I launched up again, I had to re-accept all of them. It's like next. Yep, I'm definitely reading these pages. Accept.
You know what? Yeah. That would probably be something brought up in Facebook Supreme Court. Did you read the terms of service?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, like the things where they want you to scroll through the terms of service to prove that you read it. Like, I wonder if that's going to get more advanced and be like, you have to spend X minutes reading it. Or if they got like, so you know the iPhone now has the, what's it called, with the Face ID?
Yes.
That in theory can definitely track, I think it can track your eyes. It's infrared and it's got like a bunch of tiny dots that project onto your face. I'm sure they can program it to track your pupils.
No,
like there are cameras that exist for that.
I was going to say, is the iris recognition software still built into Apple products?
No, I don't know. I didn't think they had it.
Because I know they added the iris recognition at one point, and then they removed it in favor of something else. I don't know if they re-added it or not. Because if they still had the iris recognition, absolutely 100%.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not saying in the current version, but I'm saying like where this is going with Face ID. Let's say the iPhone 12 or whatever has iris plus Face ID plus whatever.
Yep.
Could they then just track and be like, okay, we're going to watch your eyes and you have to go across every single line of this TOS?
I don't think that could work because people read at varying rates.
No, but it can track your eye. I mean, obviously you could cheat it by just not reading it, but just moving your eye across the sentences.
But that's what I'm saying is like, I don't know how precise that kind of scanner would have to be and the kind of computational power required to make that kind of scanner work. Like that's the big thing, right? With Apple products is that they tout battery life until your battery is gone and then you have to shell out hundreds of dollars. But like the kind of computational horsepower that would be required would absolutely destroy your battery life.
Yeah, I also wouldn't say it's just Apple. I'd say it's like every smartphone now. There's no replaceable batteries. It's awful.
You know what? Is like I stopped. I was really mad about the replaceable battery when the S5, the Galaxy S5, it went to transition to the Galaxy S6, which was a garbage phone, and they got rid of the replaceable battery because I always had 3 batteries in my pocket for my S4, and the S5 was actually a big marketing point, is that you can replace your battery. And I was like, oh, good to see that you just immediately backpedaled on that. But the thing that pisses me off beyond belief is the absence of a headphone jack.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like it's very weird. Like obviously, I think overall, and I mean, yeah, this is obviously relevant as well because the iPhone 11 just got released 2 days ago. But I don't like overall. I'd say it's negative. You are taking away a potential feature. I'd say it's a lot worse than the Note series, which is the Note is supposed to be, here's everything. You know, this device is, you're not really looking at the price tag that much. We're just going to give you everything.
Yep, and it's gone. And
and it's gone.
And I remember the original justification for Apple getting rid of the iPhone or the headphone jack
was space.
Well, it was partial
internal space.
It was internal space partially, as well as
the waterproofing is a lie.
That was the one. Yeah, I was going to say, because I think Samsung came out with the next revision of phone.
OnePlus as well.
Yeah, IP68 rated, and you got a headphone jack.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to seal a headphone jack, really.
No, it's not. I mean, it's
harder to seal a lightning connector, and that's there still. Same, it's harder to seal speaker grills and microphone grills, and that's there.
Yeah, I was going to say, what you said about the Note is exactly my thoughts on it. I was looking at getting a Note 10 before when they first announced it, and then the moment I heard that or found out that the headphone jack was gone, I was like, you know what? If I have to upgrade my phone, I will go for a Note 9. Because I use headphones at work, and I don't want a USB-C dongle just for headphones. That's absolutely absurd.
So the thing that overall I'd say it's worse, but with the Apple Lightning to 3.5mm adapter, at least it's cheap, which is unhistorically Apple-like. It's cheap and it's very good quality, which is nice.
But my issue is
I have run into, I was like, oh, I want to use these headphones. Oh, I'm charging my phone.
Yeah. And that's where I come down to is like, I listen to my phone music as I'm going to bed. And when I go to bed, the first thing I do is I plug in the charger and then I plug in my headphones. And from what
is to get a wireless charger, but that's spending it's not that much, but it's still like $20 for something that you shouldn't have had to spend $20 on.
Yeah, but then you have to factor in so for my use case, I roll in my sleep. So by having the phone in the bed beside me, it's not an issue because the phone will move. You pull the thing off the wireless charger just at the slightest centimeter of difference, and it doesn't work.
You see, this issue is you're using it wrong.
No, the issue is you're using the wrong headphones. You're supposed to buy the wireless ones.
I will say screw off. I will continue to use my Sennheiser IE80s until they finally die.
Those are really good earphones.
They really are. Like my best thing I ever did to them was putting on the memory foam, but that's not whatever.
Speaking of the ones they include now, they're actually not that bad. I think they're using very similar to the same, if you will, speakers as the AirPods in there included with iPhone ones.
I have never listened to the AirPods.
The AirPods, because I had iPhone headphones given to me with my 6S, and I've used other ones up until the 10, I think it was, just kind of borrowing people's. And they were always crap. They really were. The AirPods were really good. I mean, completely ignoring the price, they're better than my Sennheiser CX3.00s. I know those are $70 headphones, but this is Apple we're talking about. They generally completely mess up their earphones.
Yeah, because they can just pump them out, and the common denominator will purchase them because of the Apple branded headphones.
I would definitely say the AirPods worth around $100 or so.
You know, but it's one of those things, right?
In that range.
If Bluetooth wasn't such a garbage
it's
media
not bad.
for
No, I don't think it's
hi-fi
bad.
audio.
I don't think it's bad because you're never going to listen to Bluetooth audio when you like care about. Like I'm listening to Bluetooth audio when I'm on the train or at work or walking around to shops.
So we're going to go with that then. All right.
Yeah.
So what happens when you get to the point where you do care, and you then don't have the option?
But
that's my counterpoint.
No, that's true. But Bluetooth is getting better. Like if 5.0 just came out, I assume it's got more throughput, and I assume can go above. I don't know what it is, AAC 192 now, I think. But we could probably go above that.
Okay, so then my next counterpoint. Okay, so you want to listen to your hi-fi headphones, and you're going to just go the Bluetooth route because that's your option, because you also want to charge your phone. Okay. So every single Bluetooth to analog adapter that I have utilized for my phone that actually holds a decent charge has just garbage quality. And that's where my biggest complaint comes in, right? Is like if we had a workaround that was viable, that was either, you got the good quality audio, maybe it's a large thing, maybe it's about the size of, I don't know, say a small wallet or something. I would be perfectly fine with that, because then I could just put that in a backpack or in a back pocket or something, and I'd be content. But no, it's just we don't have that product that's readily available to the general market yet, and it's frustrating. And then I've also seen the splitter dongles for like USB Type-C to both USB Type-C and your headphone, and most of those things fall apart after several weeks, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, like when you going back to the whole using the phone in bed scenario, there's a reason why I intentionally purchased right angle USB Type-C, and then I purchased a right angle 3.5 millimeter cable for my IE80s, because when you're resting the phone on either yourself or a book or whatever, the cable will eventually wear out, and you're going to wear out your dongle, which sounds lovely out of context.
Please don't use your dongle too much. You're going to wear it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also a solution that there's no right answer for with regards to that, because everyone's different as well. And for me, I'm fine accepting worse quality for Bluetooth. And I know it's a selfish thing, because in the scenarios that I use Bluetooth, I never care about quality above 192, 256 MP3, right?
Yeah. And
I know that I'm not gonna. I wouldn't. That's also a big reason why I haven't bought AirPods. Is apart from I don't have the money. It's overpriced.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to spend that much money on Bluetooth headphones or earphones, because I know that same money on analog headphones or earphones will get me much more sound quality.
Absolutely, and that's where I come back to the whole Note 10 thing, right? Is the issue comes down to is if you're going to buy this high end product, I should have all the options. Right. Does
the Fold have an aux jack? If the Fold does not have a 3.5 mil jack, that would be hilarious, because that's like a $3,000 phone.
I want to pretend that phone doesn't exist.
I've seen people buy it on day one.
I know, but those people were the same people who were complaining about it on day one too, after all the bad reviews already came out. It was like,
No, it does not have a 3.5 mil jack. The Galaxy Fold. It's got so much space.
Yeah. I hate.
And it's not waterproof because there's a big hole in the middle of the thing. There's no reason to not have a 3.5 mil jack. It's a custom design. Everything is made just for that. It's $3,000. There's no micro SD card slot as well.
The only thing I can think of that to justify getting rid of the headphone jack at this point is that you're removing your DAC from the phone. But I can't imagine that the DAC is a really big part of the circuit board.
I mean, I guess it could be in context of iPhone 6, maybe, but the Fold is huge and the new phones are quite big as well.
Then you go for the Note 10 and it's basically the phablets of when those things were hip. And it's a huge phone. It's like Note users have already been like, we are happy with the bigger bezels so long as we have our front firing screens. We are okay with not curved glass so long as you maximize the space on the inside. And yet here we are.
Wait, the Fold gets better. It's a $3,000 phone.
Okay.
And if you want to use their wireless earbuds, you'll have to pay an extra $130 to get them. It's not even included with the phone.
Oh, great.
$3,000. Are you sure? Because I think I saw an unboxing where it did actually get included.
Oh, did it? This might be an old article then from
I haven't looked
when the screens
into
were
it.
breaking.
I haven't looked into it much, but I think you do get Galaxy Buds, I think they're called, with a phone.
Oh, yeah, this article's from February, so yeah, they might have changed it then.
But there are two versions of Galaxy Buds. There's the $200 ones, which sound good, and then there's like the $70 ones, which sound okay, and I think they're including the $70 ones.
Yeah, so Alex, I've noticed that you have posted in our I Am Here this 4-camera phone here. What are we looking at here?
So Huawei is wanting to one-up Apple. And the best way to do that is Apple came up with 3 cameras on their phone. So they are doing 4 cameras on their phone.
Oh,
and this thing looks so much like a 2005 digital camera.
Honestly, I love it.
Those solid body, like silver things from Sony.
Yeah,
that Gran had.
Yeah, the Canon point and shoot cameras and stuff.
Yes, it looks exactly like it. It's brilliant.
You know what? I like this design. Too bad Huawei is not particularly well regarded in the States.
Well, no, I don't know if you know. So there was that whole sort of, China's spying on you and whatever like that. And then nothing really happened of it, but they are actually pulling all Google apps on Huawei phones now.
Nice.
So no Play Store, no G anything, but you can still sideload them.
And
so
what has Drew's posted here? The Nokia 9 with 5 cameras.
Yeah, that's just on the back. There's another, I think, 3 on the front.
So that one Photoshop of the iPhone 11 with like 20 cameras on it is just actually going to be a thing.
I actually really like this because it's really funny. Like phone manufacturers tend to get in these like fads of just trying to one up each other on different things.
Yeah,
I love that they're doing cameras now because this is just funny.
It is,
honestly.
This is hilarious. But here's the thing, like Apple, I can see justifying the 3-camera thing because their algorithm that they use for taking multiple photos and then compiling them is actually really good. I don't know if Samsung has that with their 3 cameras. I can imagine that the Huawei is pretty lackluster just from seeing some of their other products. But if they can like use whatever algorithm that they need to do and take information from all the sensors to just produce a better photo, then I'm all for it.
Yeah. The 3 cameras is neat. The one thing that I find super neat is the low light photography now.
Oh, yeah.
So that was taken in complete not pitch blackness, but very dark light.
So to provide context for the listeners, this is a photo that was very obviously taken late at night with very bright lights on a porch. And you actually can make out a lot of detail in the photo.
Yeah, so the way the HDR works now is, I don't know if you remember when HDR camera things first came out in the iPhone 4. It was terrible.
I think the S9 and the S8 actually both supported their own version of that.
But yeah, the way it kind of balances HDR-ness now is very good.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed by this.
I think it has something to do with the multiple sensors now that it's got 3.
Right.
But with like the Nokia phone having, it's got 5 cameras at the back and then a flash and a something else.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty cool.
I imagine I think a flashlight and probably like one of those fingerprint scanners or something. Maybe. I'm just guessing by looking at it.
Yeah. But it's It's pretty nice. I honestly think this is going to kill point and shoot cameras if they're not already dead.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought they were already dead at this point, because like the only people who are really using like a standalone camera these days are the people who are opting for DSLRs.
Yeah, I think it's going to be either take your phone or full body camera DSLR.
Exactly. I mean, like watching some people doing like IRL Twitch streams from their phones, the quality's there.
Yeah,
right. So
it's definitely there for like vloggers and whatever, especially now you can do 4K on the front camera, which is crazy.
And I was going to say, most point and shoot cameras these days are most likely being used for video, and then the GoPro and those similar types of cameras taken over the market.
Yeah.
It's like
Speaking of
I was like, you have your phone for just general content, but then you have your GoPro for, hey, I'm actually going into the mud or the water or the XYZ. And you're not going to do that with your phone unless you're Linus in Mexico, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, even though they are water resistant, I still wouldn't put my phone in water. It's just not worth it. But speaking of image quality, did you see Digital Foundry's review on CRT?
I did.
CRT technology.
I did, and I actually do have a few comments on this, but I'll let you talk about it first.
Yeah, so Digital Foundry released a video kind of out of the blue on CRT technology, and I think it was part of YouTube's algorithm that kind of made it popular as well.
Of course.
But lots of people have watched it and are talking about it. And it's kind of interesting how we are so used to TN panels, IPS panels, OLED, etc. now, just going back to how we used to game on CRTs and seeing the benefits of basically no input latency at all.
Right.
Amazing contrast ratios, and colors are stupendous, really. And
yeah, for the most. Wait, no, are you referring to the CRT or the modern panels?
CRTs.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say the color reproduction has always been hit or miss on CRTs.
Yeah. Okay. I would say. I mean, they specifically use the FW900, which is renowned as being a very good panel.
That's fair.
But the technology itself lended itself towards having better color reproduction more easily. And they had very high praise of this monitor or CRT technology in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it's pretty interesting to go back, but I do think they did miss some of the cons, and had a bit of rose tinted glasses on when they were.
So I have two major comments on this. So first of all, this is not the first time I've seen this kind of review. Actually, I think Level 1 Techs back in like 2016 or 2017, they did their own content on this. And it was specifically when they were doing a lot of their reviews on the no-name Korean panels. And they were doing tests specifically for latency. Because like you mentioned, CRTs have some of the best, or the latency doesn't exist. It's just you're bound to the refresh rate of the electron cannon, for lack of better terms, within the CRT, just drawing at what it does, and it's really quick. So like I thought it was really interesting that Digital Foundry got a lot of traction, and then I went back to one of those older videos where they were doing these kind of comparisons. Maybe into the tens of thousands of views versus millions on the Digital Foundry. So, oh well. Second thing, though, I am subscribed to a YouTuber who goes by Look Mum No Computer, and he specializes in a lot of like old school electronic instrument. He just recently did a video within the past week where he was actually doing a lot of like power consumption comparisons between old tech and modern tech. And I think my favorite one is he had like a CRT and it drew like a third of the power of the plasma screen that he had. So it was like, the big thing for CRTs was they're extremely dangerous. Sitting in front of a CRT, you get blasted by static due to the nature of the device, and they're unwieldy. Like most of the IKEA desks that we have these days probably are not built to support 3 CRTs.
Yeah, that FW900 is 42 kilos.
Oh my gosh.
That thing weighs 2/3 of my body weight.
Yeah.
And it's not big. It's 24 inches, I think. But that's the panel. So it's probably like 28 inches, plastic bezel to bezel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's giant. And you can't take that to a LAN. Could you imagine Amazon shipping that? They're not going to put that on Prime.
That's the thing, though, is like, I've seen some people do the retro sleeper conversion PCs. I would love to see somebody take like one of those old horizontal computers, like the Atari style computers, completely retrofit it and load it up with the top end stuff, and then bring a CRT. I would love to see that at a LAN. That would be such throwback.
Yeah, it would be cool. The thing, I mean, I would never, just the cons of CRTs, I think people forget eye strain. I don't know if you remember like having to basically stop looking at your computer for like a few hours because your eyes hurt.
Oh, I have that daily.
Oh, you should.
I have the gamer glasses to help with that, and it actually does work.
Do you know what actually helped me? I used to wear glasses. I got laser eye surgery, and that helped. I have no idea why.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? I'm fortunate enough to have 20/20, so like for me, right. I'm quite literally wearing yellow tinted pieces of glass. And
does that actually work?
I don't know if it's placebo, but I've been using the things for like 2-3 years at this point, and I've noticed visibly less, the eye strains, the burst blood vessels. So, yeah, I would say it's been positive. I mean, but this is not a sponsored podcast, but please, if you would like to, hit us up. No, just I use the freeware Flux on my computer, which does the blue light filtering. I know Windows 10 has that built in now, but I've always used Flux. And that helped for a while, but then it came back. So that's when I went for the glasses, and I've noticed a significant difference, especially in the office space, where use as like 6400 Kelvin fluorescent tubes. It helps.
Yeah. Just the flickering tubes overhead.
I hate it.
Exactly that.
Yeah, also, and due to OSHA regulations, we got yelled at for actually unplugging a lot of the fluorescent tubes above us.
Oh, right. Stop making your workplace better.
It's like we have a couple of offices. Like I work in the older building, so it's a little bit more manageable. But in the newer building, where all the cubes are like 3.5 feet tall walls, so everybody can see everything. It feels like there's some metaphors or similes that I would like to use to make comparisons to what that feels like. Some of those people just have umbrellas above their cubes.
Wow, that's very weird.
But it's like I can't blame them.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it is what it is. Moving on.
Yeah, sorry. I want to talk about this next topic a lot.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Ryzen 3950X, the big excited. Boy Threadripper, is coming soon to retailers near you.
I am really mad that Cynical's not here right now, because Cynical likes to constantly give me crap because I unironically purchased a 1900X. And I thoroughly enjoy my 1900X. So I am going to do everything in my power to get the base model Threadripper 3 to spite Cynical. And I hope that he can comment on that next week.
Yes. It was announced for November of this year, which is obviously like 2 months away. I mean, really a month and a half away. But I've heard that it's going to be delayed further.
You know what? I feel like since Epic has been pretty well established on Zen 2 at this point, and the third gen Ryzen is doing very well. Aside from some few specific situations, I could foresee Threadripper 3, which is basically the equivalent of what original Threadripper was, aka some of the Zeppelin chips or the chiplets, I guess they're calling it on Rome now, are going to either be dummy chips or they're just going to be physically disabled dead chips. And I would be perfectly content with that. I think Threadripper is great just because I'm a shill. No, I'm kidding. No, I enjoy Threadripper because of the PCI Express, because that's my biggest complaint about Ryzen 3 is you're limited to like 16 PCI Express lanes, if I remember correctly, and you typically get the full 64 historically, we've got the full 64 on the Threadripper platform. So I'm looking forward to that specifically.
Yeah. So actually, just to correct what I said earlier, the 3950X is still Ryzen, like 9. And then there's going to be AMD Ryzen Threadripper 3rd gen. Okay. Both of them got delayed. So I think they were supposed to be released earlier than November, but they both got pushed back to November because of TSMC 7 nanometer yields not being that great. I think
I'm curious about that with the 3950, because I figured that the 3900 and the lower SKUs were just a bin version of what the 3950 was supposed to be, where these chips or these cores are not working correctly, so we're just going to electronically disable them, and there you go.
Yeah. I think it's because phone manufacturing is moving towards 7 nanometer now.
Fair.
And phones make a lot more money than super high-end CPUs.
I mean, I obviously know that Threadripper 2 is, or 3, I guess.
3rd gen is what they call it.
3rd gen Threadripper. They're not going to make a whole lot of money off of it. I know that for a fact, unless they're just retrofitting the Epic chips, like I suggested before, and then that's a perfect opportunity to have the Threadripper chip.
I'm not sure. I think it's really cool. I actually really like that AMD is still keeping the HEDT viable for consumers, because that it's not viable for on Intel's side. No. Like people with 2066 now. So few people have those, and if they do, it's just like, I just have it as an encoding machine.
Well, like, right, but the big turnoff is that you're going to be buying a full fat Xeon. There's no i9 variant of the Xeon chips on that platform.
The price.
Yeah, I mean
everything on that platform.
I mean, price alone is not. I don't think that's. It's just you have this super big chip or the Xeons, and unless they have some way to do a dumbed down version of the Xeon chip without totally botching it and then still being able to guarantee the high clock rates that people expect from HEDT, it ain't gonna happen. Like, they're gonna have to fully develop something new for that, versus Threadripper, they just take an Epic chip and just chop off a few chiplets.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting nevertheless.
I'm very excited.
I don't know if I don't think they've announced pricing for it, but it will be interesting. I hope it comes in very competitively. And if Ryzen 3rd gen is anything to go by, I think it might.
Yeah.
I think they do want to just take market share right now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having quad channel memory on Ryzen or Zen 3.
No, that would be pretty awesome, especially for people doing sort of, I don't want to say amateur rendering, but you know what I mean? Like people running YouTube channels or whatever that render quite a lot, but they don't have that much money to spend on dedicated rendering hardware.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I've been seeing more positive about Zen 3 in general, is that the memory controller is just much better than obviously revision 1 and revision 2. One of my biggest complaints about my 1900X system is I bought specific RAM for aesthetic. I know that's exactly how you're supposed to buy hardware. And I had to basically remove the overclock on my CPU. And I'm running it just above, I think I'm running a 2666 only for stability's sake, because I couldn't push the XMP profile that was meant for Intel, which makes sense, but still really unfortunate. So I'm looking forward to seeing better memory compatibility, especially for the quad channel perspective.
You use Ableton. Do you know that Ableton is still very biased towards Intel CPUs?
I do not use Ableton, but I did know that.
Right. Okay.
Well, FL Studio is the same way.
Audio like software is so just, it's like 10 years old.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, right? Is like a lot of DAWs are single threaded, and there's some that tout their multi-threadedness, but really what ends up happening is it depends on how you have things chained together. So if you have, and I know we're probably losing some people by referring to this, but the moment you start linking multiple channels together, that all gets pushed to the same thread, usually. So
Ableton is, I have no idea how it does single or multi-threaded, but it always seems like there's a CPU counter in the program and it's like 70%, CPU utilization. And then I look at Task Manager and it's like 5.
Now, I will say that I've had a very positive experience using FL on Threadripper. I have yet to see the CPU pegged. However, I don't do very plugin intensive projects just because I'm poor.
Yeah.
And I'm usually just using multiple instances of the same plugin. So yeah.
Oh well. Vive, or rather HTC, has finally announced the specs and price and, well, the release date of their new headset. The one that's meant to compete with the new Steam Index and Valve. No, sorry, not Valve. The Facebook Oculus thingamajiggy. Rift S. That's the one. Yes. So this Vive is 1440 by 1700 per eye. For context, the Oculus is
the Index.
No, the Oculus is 1200 by 2080, I think, per eye, or 1200 by 1080 per eye. It's a lower resolution. It actually hasn't changed resolution from the original Rift because it's targeting a lower price point. This one's got the highest resolution by 100 vertical pixels. Yeah, it's 100 more than the Rift. I'm sorry, the Index. These names are hard. It's still sitting at 90 hertz, which is the same as all the other HTC virtual reality headsets. It is 30 less than the Index can do, and it is 10 hertz more than the Rift S. So it still has the same field of view as all the previous sort of headsets, except for the Index, which has a higher field of view. But most importantly, no base stations are required. It uses 6 cameras for inside-out tracking, and it's coming in at a price range that's pretty good. It's in between the Rift S and the Index at $700 US.
That's not bad. I mean, that's still way out of my price range, unfortunately, but that's not bad.
The thing I like about it is, I mean, it's a lot of specs. Basically, it's the same specs as the HTC Vive Pro, but it's not $1,250. It's $700. So people that don't want to spend $1,000 on a Index have this as the middle point between a Rift S and the Index. The biggest con of this headset is it's using, well, it might be a con, but it's using LCD panel instead of an OLED panel. So the contrast ratios will not be there. But you won't have the pixel persistency issues of OLED.
Right.
I do have a Valve Index, which does use LCD, and the contrast ratios aren't really an issue for me, I think.
It's mainly like the haloing, but...
Yeah, that's a problem with the lenses.
Yeah, I think the only way we'll know how this new Vive performs is if someone gets it in their hands and reviews it properly. Because... yeah, it's just one of those things you have to see for yourself sometimes. It's very hard to kind of judge. You can't judge how a VR headset looks through your computer monitor.
Oh, absolutely not. So I do have a couple comments. Specifically, the big selling point of the Vive that I've noticed, because I've got a friend who owns both the Vive and the Index, and he says as much as he enjoys the picture quality of the Index and just how it feels in game, the biggest complaint is comfort.
Oh, okay.
He's had a couple issues with the Index where he's just gone back to the Vive from a comfort perspective. And I don't know if that's maybe just him. Maybe he has a small head. I don't know. but I will say from my limited experience on the Vive, it is a very comfy headset, albeit low resolution at the base model. The only thing that I am concerned with is the lack of towers. Now, is that an optional thing, or is that a actual selling point where you don't use towers?
It's an actual selling thing. So they've got a gyroscope, accelerometer, and extra cameras to kind of remove the need for that. I don't know if it will be better with towers. They haven't said like you can use. They haven't said if you could use towers with it, or if it would even benefit it. The Rift S, for example, doesn't actually use base stations either, and no one's complained about it.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. It's like where the Vive really shines is the ability to track you moving around your room easily, right? And the Vive base stations have actually been fairly accurate from my experience. So my biggest concern, especially in like a game like Beat Saber, where you're swinging your controllers around, what happens once your controller goes out of eyeshot of the headset? Well, that's where the tower would come in, right? I don't know.
I'm not sure. It's just like they've just released the specs for it, but that is something they have like, I don't know if they've specifically avoided that, but they have not mentioned that anywhere in the sort of the spec sheet or the just blurb about the headset. It does flip up though, so you can text while you VR. Yeah,
I do like that because I know a lot of, or just from my limited VR experience, and then you're playing like say something like the Weeaboo favorite VR chat, and you watch just somebody's character collapse because they took their headset off.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny. I've seen it happen before.
It's pretty comical.
Some games like Assetto Corsa, their menus aren't in VR, but the game's in VR, and I'm constantly like taking my headset off and then on again, off and on again, and it's really annoying.
Yeah, so
and then you get the smudge on your lenses, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, so
VR has a workaround for that. What it does is the actual menu, it loads in like in a cinema screen, which is pretty neat, and you don't ever have to take it off.
Yeah, I've had that, but I've also with the Rift, I've had it like not work for some reason in Steam VR. It's just, I don't know if it's fighting with the Rift Home and Steam VR, but even though VR has been around for like 5 years, I want to say 4 or 5 years, it still feels like all the software and everything about it's in beta. It still feels very iffy. And I guess it's just because not many people are using it compared to anything else.
Right. But remember, the barrier to entry for these things is pretty steep.
Yeah, a good computer, VR, like, and the VR itself is expensive, and then a room as well, of course. And
exactly. Like I know several individuals who have gotten like the cheap Microsoft like $200 to $300 headset just so they can experience like tabletop simulator or something along those lines in VR. But even then, you're still justifying paying the price of a console for a limited experience.
Yeah, and it probably won't be a good one either. And then they go, "Oh, VR is terrible."
Well, no, they've had fun with it.
Yeah, I think VR horror games. That's like I experienced VR first with horror games, and it was very good actually. I genuinely scared.
As the self-proclaimed biggest bitch I know when it comes to horror games, I actively will be avoiding any horror-related content on VR when I eventually get it.
It is. So I think was it Outlast? I can't remember. There was a VR horror game that I played, and like I think it's like the first jump scare or whatever. I just instinctively like took off my headset, like threw it down, and I just right-click uninstall the game. I was like, nope.
Well, see, I had a really similar experience like with one of the horror games that a friend convinced me to play without giving me any content.
Yeah.
Minus the VR, of course.
Yeah. No. That and driving games are the two biggest things for VR.
Yeah. Like because any simulator-based game.
Well, I think driving games are very good because when you're driving a car, you're not moving around, you're sitting down. So there's a lot less things that are disconnecting you from the experience because you're using a wheel and VR and stuff. So it's not like in the VR chat, right? You have to use the controller or analog stick to move. And obviously your legs aren't moving. So it's a bit of a disconnect there. So I just think the immersion, if you will, is better in driving games. Anyway, speaking of driving games, speaking of cars.
Great segue.
Yes, thank you. I'm great at that.
Are you?
No. So Mercedes actually saying they're going to stop all internal combustion engines in favor of developing electric engines. And I think this is a big move towards, I think it's Europe or might be France, but they want to ban anything but electric engines by like 2050 or something like that.
That was originally France, but pretty much all of Europe want to do it now. It does only apply to brand new cars sold. So you can still buy like petrol and diesel cars used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a huge push though for electric cars. And obviously now Mercedes stopping developing internal combustion engines means they can spend that money, that R&D money towards electric cars.
Right.
Which is good.
Well, it's a lot of R&D money. As of 2015, it was it 8.25 million euros a day.
Yeah. So that's all going to go to developing battery technology.
See, I think that's the big stopping point for electric right now. Is right now the lithium-based batteries. That's not great. We need new tech for batteries, especially for cars. We need better support for rapid charge and discharge as needed, and just longer term haul. Like short range is a big turnoff for most people in the States or in Canada because of the long distance you have to travel on the regular, right? Over in Europe, I think it makes a lot more sense because it was like the 400-mile range that we have here is clearing several countries in Europe.
I will still say I don't like the push towards electric in terms of, I don't like how companies and countries are viewing it as an all or nothing, like a very black and white. You can have only electric or you can only have internal combustion.
Well, I think the big reason for that is there's no good way to incentivize selling a car for a $40,000 electric car.
No, there is, but countries don't want to do it. So this happened in Ontario, and it just stopped when the new government got in. Mm-hmm. But they had massive rebates on electric cars. And the amount of Teslas and Nissan Leafs I see on a daily basis is quite a lot, because people were like, the Tesla 3 is cheaper than a petrol alternative in some cases with rebates. And it was like, heck yes. It doesn't even matter that it's electric. This is like, I'm getting a better car for either the same price or less. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
No rebates now. So
yeah, but it's one of those things, right? It's like eventually you're going to start running out of money with all these rebates. So it's going to be an all or nothing shift. Now, my question and concern is, come 2050 or whenever they said that they're going to start enforcing this all or nothing electric car only. How is that going to work, right? Because right now there's not enough or I don't know how it is over in Europe, but definitely here in America there is not enough infrastructure to support everybody switching over to electric cars.
Yeah, in Canada I'd say it's fine. We make good power.
Well, I mean, sure, but okay, so let's use an extreme example. You go from the side of the country that you're living on, the East Coast, and you won't need to make a long haul to the West Coast. But you only have your electric car. Exactly.
There's no way you can do that. And there's nothing in the middle there. And getting power to that is going to be
that's where
a lot of power. Yeah,
still has, and diesel for that matter. I'm still really ticked off at Audi, Volkswagen for the lawsuit that they brought on themselves.
Did it to themselves, but yeah.
Because I thought diesel cars and diesel hybrids were going to be like the future tech, right? But then they did that, and now nobody sells diesel cars.
Kind of. There's a new Ram diesel truck, which...
Well, no, that's different. That's a truck. I'm talking about a commuter car. My brother owns a 2004 TDI Jetta. That thing runs like a champ. the only thing that sucks is it's a Volkswagen, so you need to get all sorts of specialty parts to work on it. But no, I mean, it's one of those things. It's like we had a 2013 TDI Passat. We now have a 2015 TDI Passat that has the fix, and you just don't see that stuff anymore. It's
in America is the key point. In Europe, it's quite a lot of diesel still.
I know, and I think it makes sense over in Europe, but I also think that there's probably something due to less stringent EPA style restriction.
I wouldn't say so, because a lot of those cars still meet EPA or just emissions testing for including NOx and SOx as well as carbon. I think it's just that Americans do not like diesel. And look at the amount of trucks that have V8 petrol car engines versus diesel, and it's like, in the complete ideal circumstance, a truck is a work vehicle.
Yeah,
I know that people want them to be hybrids, but like if you want to be purely focused on what a truck is, a diesel makes a lot of sense.
And yeah, that's what it comes down to. If you go for anything like an F-250 from Ford, you're going to be getting a diesel.
Yeah, but the most common thing equipped with just F-150, Dodge Ram, Chevy truck, I don't know the name of it, Silverado?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but
it's the V8 petrols that they offer. By far the most popular choices.
Yeah, and it's just frustrating to me, because it's like diesel makes so much more sense from a fuel refinement perspective, from a cost perspective, from a maintenance perspective. And yet here we are, as good old Americans, we sure love drinking our gasoline from the pump.
Yeah. But that's what I was going back and saying. Like, I don't like how companies are like, we're going to do all electric. It's like, can we please just say we're going to do both? Like, I would really like daily driver cars, all the sort of wagons, hatchbacks, sedans, and stuff like that. That being electric is great, right? But then keep the sports cars, supercars, and stuff like that either hybrids, which hybrids used for performance is amazingly cool, or petrol or whatever. Like, those fun little cars like S2000, or I mean, that's not that little, but the light cars like the Miata. You can't make a Miata an electric car given the current technology, just because of how heavy the batteries will be. And a part of the experience is genuinely the sound, the engine, the noise, and just the whole mechanical feeling of that car. And electric is very disconnected.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, right? Is like I can only imagine what this is going to do to people who actually work on their vehicles, right? Because electric vehicles,
they're like phones.
Yeah, they're notorious for no maintenance. And
one thing I don't like is Tesla's saying you don't have to care about the kilometers on your car because electric engines don't wear down like petrol engines. And that annoys me, because Tesla doesn't understand cars.
It's just some dodgy marketing, which Tesla are famous for.
Yeah,
no, I know, but that's annoying.
Correct.
It's technically correct, but electric engines, I mean, okay, they technically do degrade, but not much. The batteries definitely degrade, especially in Canada where it gets extreme colds.
Yeah,
they definitely degrade. And like the gears will degrade, the chassis itself will warp over time. Everything wears out for the fact of being used. It doesn't mean that a 200,000 kilometer Tesla is like new. Stop it.
I was going to say, it's probably a comparison to, the targeted American market, where I think 90% of people do not maintain their cars, and they will happily take it to the dealership or to the shop once the car breaks.
I suppose that is actually a good thing. You don't really need I mean, Teslas still have services, but that's not oil change, gearbox oil change, spark plugs, air filter, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
Well, there's got to be some maintenance.
I think there's still, because there's still technically a gearbox. I think it's still fluid filled, and I think they do change that, as well as obviously tires, brakes, and things like that.
Well, depending how you drive, the Teslas don't actually use the brakes at all. It just uses the regenerative braking.
Yeah, apparently some people are quite shocked by that when they first get in it, because I guess people are used to automatic cars, which don't have, when you let off the gas, deceleration. which actually, because
Well, they do.
No,
Just
they
nowhere near as
barely.
strong.
Well,
Yeah, so
but I would say that's the same argument that people make when they go from driving an automatic to driving a manual, where
I had
you have
that
engine
issue.
braking.
Well, yeah, but okay, I had that issue in reverse. I've always driven manuals, and when I drove automatics, it's always like, okay, I'm letting off the gas. Okay, it's not slowing down. It's barely. Okay, I have to use the brakes. It's annoying.
I hate it.
But oh well. Anyway, moving on from that, because I know this is supposed to be a tech podcast. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's something I've noticed as a trend, and it's definitely happening in sort of the comedy region on a mass scale as well. But sort of a while back, maybe even 10 years ago, we had sort of a culture of fanboyism almost. People were had extreme likes of certain companies and such, and that still exists to some extent now. But I've noticed a lot more anti-fanboyism as a culture, sort of almost linked to, I don't want to say linked to the outrage culture, but people are very quick to kind of call someone a fanboy and put products down, saying, oh, all these fanboys are, just eating up what Samsung or AMD or Apple or Intel is saying about their product. Oh, they're all idiots, da-da-da-da. But I've never seen those fanboys in the wild. I mean, they exist, but...
Isn't there some guy on YouTube that's like the biggest AMD fanboy of all time?
Yes. Yes,
I do know who you're talking
I don't
about.
want to say the name, but he exists, and he's very famous.
Okay, fine.
I wouldn't say he's very famous, but he has curtains in AMD color.
Oh,
so,
nice. God. Oh,
I love it.
Yeah.
I wonder if
I wouldn't say that it's... I would say that it's just the current just socio-climate we live in right now. I mean, you look at any heated topic that exists, which in this case, looking at the computer side versus of NVIDIA versus AMD, back in the day, it was yes, NVIDIA all the way, or yes, AMD all the way, and then we're going to immediately call out the other side. So that first part is just kind of dissolved a bit. So now you're left with that we're going to call out the other side. But no, I'm not a fan, but I'm going to call out the other side.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like
You know what you're looking at, though?
Are...
It's one of the things about marketing that a lot of people, nobody wants to talk about, but is the big truth. And there was a video, I think either Linus did a video about this or somebody else did a video about it. I think Jim Sterling, if you guys are familiar with him, he's a games journalist. He did a video about how the more negative a story is, the more views it gets. So I think a lot of the people that do these sort of like outrage, like, oh, AMD is dead or like NVIDIA is dead or whatever, I don't think anybody even actually believe it. I think just because the more negative something is, the more people are drawn to it. I think that's what it is. And that's sort of like snowballing into itself.
So people kind of clicking on it, just clickbait stuff, like going, oh, I can't believe this guy's saying that, and clicking on it.
I know, yeah. And so here's what happens. And it's actually a pretty genius strategy. You either, let's say the new AMD Ryzen series, right? Let's say like, oh, the 3000 series sucks or something, right? You can have someone make a video saying the AMD Ryzen 3000 is the worst CPU to ever exist, right? And here's what's going to happen. All right, you're going to have two groups of people. One of them is like, oh, yes, I knew it all along. People that are going to hate AMD no matter what they do. And then the other half that are hardcore defenders, right? Just defending it to the, no, you're wrong, and you're right. And they all come together, and that's going to make for some sweet, sweet comment algorithm and a whole bunch of other stuff. Man, if you can get people arguing in your comment section, that is the best way, at least on YouTube, to bump it in the algorithm, and also on Google, because that shows a lot of engagement.
That's because I mean, also when people say like, if you like the video, thumbs it up. If you didn't like it, thumbs it down. That's just engagement. Thumbsing it down still is engagement. It's still kind of positive for the video.
Yeah, no matter what. I mean, it's always some way. I mean, okay, on YouTube, it's two things. It's engagement and it's watch time, and not swearing apparently, and not talking about mail order brides. But besides that, you do that and you're good. You get those three delightful things into a pot. You're going to be very, very well off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yes.
and you know, you look at some of the most trending videos on YouTube, and they're mostly or from what I've seen, they're drama related, right? Drama sells.
Oh, yeah.
So once people are no longer owning up to who their true side is, and you have that distilled, the other side is wrong. That's all you see. So it's just frustrating more than anything else.
Can I ask who actually uses the trending page of YouTube? Because I know commentators focus on it. It's not commentators. YouTube content creators focus on it a lot. I've never used it.
I don't use it.
Don't use it.
But
I
it's bled into the
swear.
home screen, and it really ticks me off.
I make videos on
know.
YouTube and I don't even use it.
I know, but I swear it's mainly content creators using it to see what's going on and what's popular. I don't think people click anything but home. But I don't think they do that, or go to their specific subscriptions or search stuff up. Like that recommended pane of glass with 8 videos there, or 9, or whatever it is. I think that is the most powerful manipulation tool that YouTube has.
Yeah, I was gonna say, keep in mind, we are definitely not in the majority here. I know that there are many people who do check out the trending, but they're also the same individuals who do either watch a lot of drama, they're looking for political content, they're looking for anything along those lines that is typically, I guess, avoided by this small group of people. No, I think it's also kind of interesting when, you go to just one of your regular, I pull up the subscriptions list. I click on a video by XYZ YouTuber. Oh, this is 4th on trending. Well, good for you, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose we're also the kind of person or people when I go onto YouTube, I will specifically search for something like Linus Tech Tips, Gamers Nexus, or Lewis Spears or something. I'm not just browsing through a bunch of stuff,
Yeah, well, that's how the algorithm learns about what you are. And then you, Alex, my dear boy, because you're very cool and you don't go to trending, what ends up happening is you watching those videos adjust your recommended feed on your homepage. So even though you're not, and this happens to me too, like a video or from a channel that I have absolutely no interest in will just show up in my recommended. And it's obviously some late night talk show or some movie trailer or something that I've never watched, not even anything close to it, but it just appears in your recommended. So even if you don't go to the trending tab, which is mostly, I don't want to say a lot of corporate advertising, but a decent amount, it'll find its way to you.
What I like, so yes, sure. But what I do like is, those videos where you just ask someone, do you have this on your recommended? And it's like, yeah. It's just that weird video. And you go in the comments and it's like a video from 3 years ago and all the comments are like, why was this in my recommended?
Yeah. Or that's how Badlands Chugs got so big.
Yeah. Badlands Chugs, as well as Joey's World Tour, I think.
Oh, yes. Sweet Joey.
I mean, they both got big through other means.
Wow.
I was going to say,
wow.
I'm rude.
Frick, I'm fortunate to be on the positive end of the algorithm lately. I've been getting nothing but jazz videos and music theory videos.
You the Blade
and
Master?
Some science. Say what?
Are you the Blade Master?
Oh, no. Just recently, though. Like for the longest time, my recommended videos has been stuff I've already watched. So it's like, well, this is kind of pointless.
Okay, that's a new trend. Have you guys been getting videos that you've already watched a lot, with that big red bar at the bottom?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Without the red bar, but yes. And I assume because some people just rewatch videos.
10-year-olds.
What, they just rewatch the videos?
Oh, do you guys? Oh my God, I don't know. I don't want to go too off topic, but I recently found out about this. Okay, I'll dive into it a little bit. So here's something that I've looked into a lot. Now I'm the greatest candy reviewer on the planet. These are facts. One of the videos I did, and Alex just posted a Wings of Redemption Down the Rabbit Hole video, which is great. It's 2 hours, but very interesting. So on YouTube, there are distinct videos that are meant for kids, and then there are separate sections that are meant for adults, right? YouTube Kids, and then the regular YouTube app. However, one of the big things on YouTube, and it has been for the past 10 years, it has not faltered in its popularity, is this genre of videos known as Kinder Egg openings, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now these
The ones
videos
with
will have
billions of views.
tens of millions. Like even back then, 5-6 years ago,
Yeah.
tens of millions of ridiculous, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, what in the hell is happening here? Like, why are these things so popular? And I'm like, there's got to be some reason for it, right? So I dived into it a little bit because it happens to be something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I noticed that, well, okay. So if you look at the stats of these videos, right? An average Kinder Surprise, ridiculously popular video, 1.9 billion. Yeah, there you go. One of them will have like 200 million views, right? But it'll only have maybe 3,000 likes and maybe 200, 300 comments, which is weird.
Yeah.
Very strange. And you're like, what? How is that even possible, right? So the first thing you think is like, oh, it's got to be like bots or something. View bots, they're going to the channel, they're watching it, and that's it. And then that's making it more popular, right? But no, it turns out
It's autoplay.
yeah, well, it's autoplay and also it's kids. So going back to the kids aspect of all of this, the 10-year-olds, right? The 9-year-old army. If you look at the comments of these videos, they are nothing. Like they'll be saying things like nice or good, or sometimes they'll just be like gibberish or like random numbers or just
A lot of the time it's gibberish.
yeah, it's just nonsense, right? And you're like, what's the point of this? Here's what happens. A kid watches that video and then he'll scroll down to the comment section and then he'll just start clicking random things. Like 4 or 5-year-olds, they don't know anything. So they just click random things. The reason those comments are there is because those people want their videos to get clicked on, so they put a comment in there. And then guess what? They get chosen and then they get added into this big giant autoplay playlist or whatever. And it snowballs and snowballs and snowballs in there. That's why you see those stupid, like, that's why you've never seen any comments on those things. But that's why the comments you do see are nonsense. They're just gibberish, one word, if that post. Really interesting. I mean, I like I said, I didn't know about this until like someone showed me. It's like, hey, did you know like the food review thing for kids is totally different from adults? I'm like, what in the hell? And yeah, I got my new business model, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there is probably, I'd love to see, I know it'd be almost impossible to classify this, but the percentage of views on YouTube that are YouTube kid views and YouTube adult views. Yeah. Like, how, because all these kids' videos, there doesn't seem to be that many, but they all seem to have millions or some cases billions of views. Is it like half of the YouTube audience are under 10 or something?
Oh yeah, the demographic. Well, for the record, all of my audience is 25, according to my analytics, apparently.
Nice.
Just only 25. So 24-year-olds don't watch, they haven't discovered your videos yet, and 26-year-olds have gotten over candy.
It's just 25, 100% 25-year-olds, apparently. So they did some research on this, and well, first of all, everyone lies about their age. There's no way to prove that.
Oh, no, but what's also neat is, Google like tries to predict what gender and age you are. If you say like, you just say no or none or whatever for those, or I don't want to give it to you, it'll still try and guess what you are. Yeah. So I'm I can't remember what it was, but I think I was a 16-year-old girl, according to Google. I was either 16 or 60, and I can't remember which.
I think it was 16.
Yeah, it's probably 16, given the white iPhone and pumpkin spice latte addiction.
What would they show you?
So, no. I'm just saying, like in your Google profile, it will show you.
Oh, okay.
Like you're getting ads based on this is what we think you are, and it was very wrong.
It's a common thing. Well,
yeah.
If you're going to be a kid on YouTube, the best thing to do, well, kids on YouTube watch other kids. That's what it is at the end of the day. But then you've got like viewers like iDubbbz who have, oh my God, the worst audience on the planet. And the majority of his audience is like 13 or 14. So
I think Frank's audience just went over to iDubbbz.
All right. You're probably right. Yeah.
And yeah. Oh, well, that's actually all we have for this podcast now. Don't want to let it go on for too long. So thank you very much to my illuminous guests, Simmons and Frick Frock, for joining. And we will see you guys next week, next Sunday. Same place, same time, hopefully.
And with a special guest, probably.
Maybe, yes. No promises, but there might be something very exciting in that podcast. So, without further to do,
Ooh.
goodbye and good night.
Good night.